Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are diving deep into one of the most fundamental and essential concepts in web development, and that is DOM manipulation. Whether you are a beginner or someone who is brushing on the core fundamentals, understanding that how to interact with the DOM, it is a game changer. The DOM is basically the structure of our web page. It uses JavaScript to control the content, structure, and even the styling of the HTML elements in real time. This is what powers the things like dynamic content updates, interactive forms, and so much more. In this video, we'll start by learning that how to select elements from the DOM. We have a lot of methods to manipulate the DOM that we have like getElementById, we have a querySelector, we have a lot of methods. We will see later in the video that how we can do this. After it, we will explore how to change the content of those elements, whether it is updating the tags, it is inserting new HTML tags, or changing the attributes. I will show you real examples, explain what's happening behind the scenes, and give you tips on writing clean, efficient code. By the end of this video, you will have a strong foundation in manipulating the DOM, which is a must-have skill for every software engineer. So let's get started. Before we jump into the code, let's quickly understand that what is the DOM, what actually the DOM is. The DOM, which is also known as the document object model, it is a representation of our HTML page in a tree-like structure. Whether we are working in the React or we are working in the Angular, but at the end of the day, our document is made up of some of the objects, like we have head, we have body. So our web page is basically based on these types of objects. So basically DOM tells us that what is the structure of our web page has, what type of structure our web page has. This information is coming from the DOM. If we understand deeply that what is the DOM, how it works, then we can manipulate the DOM using our favorite JavaScript. Now we will see that how can we make the diagram of our document. For example, how we can represent our DOM. DOM is basically document object model. Now we will see that how our documents look like. So for this, first of all, we will create an HTML file. After it, we will make our web page, and then we will see step by step that how we can represent our DOM. In VS Code, first of all, I will create an HTML file. So I name the file index.html. So I am creating an HTML file, and inside the HTML file, first of all, I will create our web page. So for this, if I write here exclamation mark, so now it will give us a basic HTML file. So now you see that this is a head, this is our body. So let's create a document. So inside the body, if I write here just a div and I add an attribute class and name the class that main. Inside the div, I create an h1 tag, and inside h1 tag, I will write that learning DOM manipulation. After it, I can create a paragraph tag, and I write here that like and subscribe to the channel. In the paragraph tag, like and subscribe to the channel because it's really helpful. So don't forget to like and subscribe. So here we add some attributes. So here I name as class. So I write class title, add an attribute which is an ID. So our ID is, this is a paragraph. So I write PRG. Okay, so now our document is ready. This is our basic web page. So in the head, there are some meta tags and there is a title tag, and inside the title tag, there is a written as document. So if I change it, if I write here that code engineers. Okay, so now this is our basic web page. So if I save the file, so now this is our basic web page. So inside this web page, each element, like we have h1 tag, we have paragraph tag, we have a div. So each element becomes a node in this tree-like structure. We will understand through diagram that how we can represent this document using DOM. So if we understand the DOM, we can use JavaScript to select any part of our web page. We can update its text, we can change its styles, We can add or remove the elements and even respond to the user interactions. So we can decide that when the user clicks on any button, so what functionality we want to perform. We can decide that if user clicks on the button, we can submit user data to the database. So these types of things we can do along with the JavaScript if we understand the DOM deeply. Now we will see that how we can make the diagram of the DOM of this web page over this document that we created. Okay, so before making the diagram of our web page, let's discuss about a very interesting thing, and that is that so now this is a web page of Wikipedia. So if I right click, I click on inspect, and if I go to console, so first of all, here we talk about one thing which is known as window. If I write here console.log, and inside console.log, I will write window. So now if I console.log window, so now you will see if I console.log window, so we have a window object here. In this window object, we have a lot of information of our web page, that we have our location, we have Redux, and a lot of things, a lot of objects we have. So here down, if we go down, and you will see we have an object which is known as document. So inside document object, we have a lot of information. We have jQuery, we have location, URL, we have base URI, and if I go down here, we have doc type, which is HTML document, we have document element, and we have domain, first child. So there is a lot of information regarding this web page we have in the our document object. If I just console only document, so if I write here document, so if I console.log only document, so now you will see that I have the information about this document. We have an HTML tag, we have the head of this document, we have body. So now information about this web page we have there inside the document. But you see that inside the window object, when we are opening document here, so if I open document here, we have a lot of information like jQuery, location, URL, body, we have domain, we have document URI. So a lot of information regarding this document inside the window object. But when we console.log only document, we have HTML structure. We have HTML tag, head tag, body tag. If I want all the information about the document, so for this we have to write console.dir. So console.dir will give all the information about the document. So now if I just write here document, and now you will see I have all the information about the document that we have in the window object. So if I just enter, so now if I open it, so now you see we have all the information, that jQuery, location, so all those things. So all the information I can get here. So now we will understand that what is the structure of DOM, what is the structure of document object model of this web page. So for understanding this, we will create a diagram for the document that we made before in the VS Code. So now we will create the diagram of our DOM, which is a document object model, for our web page that we created before in the VS Code. So if I go in the VS Code, so this is our web page that we created. So now we will make the diagram of the DOM regarding this document. So what is the very first thing? What is at the top level? So here when we are exploring our web page, we see that that very top level object is window object. So we have window object, and inside window object we have our document object. This one, we have our document object. So inside document object we have our body, and we also have our title, we also have our head tag. So now at the very top level object is window object, and inside window object we have our document object. So inside window we have our document object. So we write here document. Inside the document we have our structure of our web page. Inside the document we have our web page. After document we have our HTML tag, we have our HTML element. So after document we have our HTML element. Inside HTML element we have two elements. One is head element and the second is body element. So how to represent these two? So after HTML element we have two elements. One is head and second is body. Okay. So inside HTML we have two elements. One is head and one is body. Inside head element, we have two meta tags and one is title. So for now, if I just remove this meta tag and I have only one meta tag, and now in the head element, I have two elements, which is one is meta and second is title. So in the diagram, if I write here that, so inside the head element, we have two elements, one is meta tag and one is title. So after this, we have a body element, and inside the body element, I have one element which is known as div. So if I go there, and inside body element, I have one element and that element is div. Inside body, I have one element which is div. Inside the div element, I have two elements. One is h1 and the second is p, which is paragraph element. So here I write here that we have h1 and here we have p. So inside div element, we have two elements. One is h1 and one is p. So if we see here that inside div, we have one is h1 and the second is p. So now this is the document object model of our web page that we created here. So the document object model or the DOM structure of this element is represented like this. First of all, we have window. After it, we have document, and then we have HTML element. Inside HTML element, we have two elements, head and body. And inside head element, we have two elements, meta and title. And in the body, div, and inside div, we have two elements, h1 and paragraph tag. So if I go here, and for example, if I create a new file and I name the file that styles.css. So now I want to link this style.css file to our this index.html file. So how to link this? So first of all, if I write here link tag, and this is a self-closing tag, and here I write relation. So relation is style sheet and href. So inside href, I just write // and I write style.css. So now this styles.css file will be linked to our this index.html file. So now in this case, what will be the DOM structure of our this document, the document that we made? So now we added one more element in the head tag. So now what will be the DOM structure? So inside the DOM structure here in the head tag, so here we will write one more element, and that will be link element. By using link tag, we link our CSS file. So now we add one more element here in the head part. So now the DOM structure will look like this, that in the head element, we have three elements, and in the body element, we have one element. Inside that one element, we have two elements. So similarly, if we add more element in the body or more element in the div, so our DOM structure will changing according to that structure that we added some elements or we remove some elements. Now we understand that how the document object model looks like, how the DOM structure of our web page looks like. Now let's see that how we can manipulate this DOM using JavaScript. Now we have our HTML document. So now let's move on to the selecting and manipulating these elements using JavaScript. We have different methods for manipulating the DOM. So let's see some common ones. So let's discuss one by one. So first of all, getElementById. So if I go to the VS Code, and if I just before closing the body tag, I just write here a script tag. And inside this script tag, I can write my JavaScript code. So first of all, I will create a variable, and I name the variable that paragraph. And inside this variable, what I will do, so here I want to select this p element. So how to do this? So for selecting this, I will using DOM, which is document object model. So here I will write document dot inside document object, there is a method which is known as getElementById. So I use this getElementById. So inside this method, in the string form, I have to mention that which ID I want to select. So in our case, our ID name is PRG. So I just copy this ID and I write here PRG. So now I am successfully targeting this element. So if I just console here, console.log, and I write here paragraph. So now if I run this file and I go to the console, you will see that inside the console, we will get this element. So if I save the file and if I just run the file, go live, and now our this document is running. So now here inside the browser, if I go to console, I just inspect and I go to console. So you see our paragraph tag is here, will be selected in the console. So if I go to the VS Code, so what we do, we create a variable, and inside the variable, I just write document.getElementById. So here what I'm doing, I create a variable paragraph, and inside here I'm using document object, and by manipulating the document object, I can select this element. So now I want to use the second method, and that is getElementsByClassName. So how to use this method? So if I go here and let me comment this one. So now I create another variable, and now I want to select this element, this h1 element. So how to do this? So if I write here just h1, I create a variable h1, and again I am using document object. So I write document dot. So now which method we want to use? That is getElementsByClassName. So if I write here getElementsByClassName, so here you see. So inside this, I need to mention the class. So which class? In our case, the class name is title. So I just copy it and paste it here. So now you will see that we can successfully select this h1 element. So if I just console here, console.log, and inside console.log, I just write h1. So when I write here console.log h1, so this method, which is getElementsByClassName, this will returns us an HTML collection. So if I go to the browser, so you see there is an HTML collection along with the specified class name. Our class name is title, so it will give us an HTML collection. So inside HTML collection, we are given by all the information about our element, which is here h1. So this is our element, learning DOM manipulation. So if I go there and inside HTML collection, it is specified that this class name h1.title. So here inside this, we have all the information about our selected element. So if I go down there, so you see attributes, it will tell us that what are the attributes, what are the events. So if you see here that innerText, so learning DOM manipulation. So this is our text. So it is giving us the innerText, what is our text, what is last child, namespace URI, local name, what is on click. If we use any on click on this element, it will also tell us that this on click will be used, on change. So all those attributes will be present here. So for example, if I just write here another attribute, that is on click. So here I want to use a function. So on click function. So now I need to declare this on click function on click function, and it is a simple function. So here I just write console.log and I write here on click function called. So now if I save the file and if I go to the file, so now you will see that we have get an on click event inside our HTML element. So this is our HTML collection. So here this is our selected element h1.title. So in this h1.title, if we go to the on click attribute, so you see there is added one function. So before it was null, but now it is specified that one function is added. Now you will see that we write on click event on h1 element. So now when I click on this element, on click function will be called. So if I click on paragraph h2, nothing is in console, but when I click on this h1, that console.log will be printed. So if I just click there, so you see on click function called. Our function is called. when I clicking on this, our function is called. So if I just again clear the console, now I again clicking on this h1, on click function is called. So now this console.log will be printed. So the next one is get elements by tag name. So if I just go there, here I will write that I create a variable and I write here all elements by tag name. So here I will write, I will select first of all document dot, there is a method get elements by tag name. So I use this method, and inside this method I need to specify the tag name. So for example, I want to access this paragraph tag which is p tag. So here in this method I just write the tag name which is p. So now this method allows us to select all the elements of a specific HTML tag. So now in our case it is p. So now it will return all the paragraph tags on the page. So now I just write here console.log and I write all elements by tag name. So now you will see that I will return all the paragraph tags on the page. So now in our case there is just only one. So if I just copy this one, if I just write here 3 paragraphs, so here I write second paragraph, third paragraph. So now this method will return all these 3 paragraph tags. So if I just go to the browser, and now you see here that there is an HTML collection and inside this there are 3 elements. So it is very important to notice that the result is not a regular array. So you see that there are square braces, but it is not the regular array. It's an HTML collection. It means that we can access elements by their index. Like if I write here, if I just write here index. So if I want to access our first paragraph tag, I just write here 0. So if I save the file, and now you see our first paragraph tag. So if I just open it, so now its innerHTML will be our first paragraph. innerHTML, innerText, like and subscribe to the channel. So it is written here, which is our first element, first paragraph tag. So if I want to access second or third one, so here for second one I just write 1, and if I save the file, and now you will see second paragraph. And if I just write 2, now it will be third paragraph. So you see third paragraph. So it is very important to notice it is not a regular array, it's an HTML collection, and we can't use the directly array methods on this. Like we have for each method for the array, we discuss later, but there are some specific methods to the array, that for each or the .map method. We can't use the methods that are applied on the array, we can't use here. Now let's talk about the next method, and that is querySelector and querySelectorAll. So what's this method do? The querySelector method select the first matching element it finds in the DOM. For example, if we go there, so here we have p tags. So if we use a querySelector method and we specify the tag name which is p, so it will return us the very first element in the DOM. So very first element p is this one, this p tag having the like and subscribe. So this element will be returned. So if I use here the querySelector method, so if I create a variable querySelector element, and here first of all I will select the document dot. So here I am using the method that is querySelector. So here inside this I will specify the tag name. So I write here p. I want the paragraph tag. So here I write the tag name p tag. So querySelector and querySelectorAll, these methods are extremely flexible because they also use the CSS style selectors to target the elements on a web page. For example, we can also specify the class name. We can also specify the ID names. So if I write here just the dot title, so now it is targeting this element which is having the class title. So now if I just write here console.log querySelector element, so now I will get this element having class name title. So if I just save the file, and if I go to the browser, so you see I am getting the h1 tag having the class name title. Now I want to select along with the ID. So if I want to specify the ID, so now I want to select the element having the ID PRG. So I just write this ID name here. So how to write the ID? I just write hash and after it ID name. So our ID name is PRG. So now if I save the file and if I go in the browser, so you see, so this paragraph tag will be returned. So now here you see that the first paragraph tag will be returned. So the content is like and subscribe. So this paragraph tag will be returned. So why this paragraph tag will be returned? Because we specify the ID PRG and we see that all the three paragraph elements having the same ID, but I am getting only one. Why? Because query selector will return only the first element in the DOM. So here in the DOM, the very first element having the ID PRG is this element. So that's why it is returning only first one. If we want all the elements, for that we are using querySelectorAll. So if I just write here querySelectorAll, so now by using querySelectorAll and specify the ID name, so now all the three paragraph elements having the ID PRG, that will be returned in a node list. So that will be a node list. So if I save the file and if I go to the browser, so you see we are getting a node list and there are three elements. So first paragraph element, second paragraph element, and third paragraph element. So if I go there and if we can check their third paragraph, so if we go there, this one is third paragraph, and you see here the inner text is third paragraph. So we are targeting this element, which is third one. So we are getting all the three elements here in a node list. So that's how query selector and query selector all works. So now we have selected our elements. So now we will see that how we can change the content of the selected elements. If we want to change the content inside the DOM, so first we select the elements and after it we change the content of the selected elements. So let's see one by one how we can change it. So first we see text content. So this property gets or sets the plain text of a node and its all descendants. For example, if we see here that this is our DOM structure. So inside DOM structure, every element is treated as a node. So if I just write here node, what is happening? So here inside the DOM, this h1 is a node. Similarly, this p tag, it is also a node. So inside the DOM structure, every element is treated as a node. So h1 is a node and paragraph p tag, it is also a node. So if we go here in our code, so you see there are four nodes. This is h1 node, first paragraph node, second paragraph node, third paragraph node. So there are four nodes. Now what I will do, I will select the element of this p tag and I want to change the content of this paragraph tag. So first of all, let's select this one. So I just using the document.getElementById. So our ID is PRG. If we see here, our ID is PRG. Now I am targeting this paragraph tag. So after this, what I will do, I write selected element dot, I will use the method, this method which is textContent, and I write here textContent and what I want to write the content. So after this, I will specify that what content I want to change. So inside the string, I will write my content. So I want to change this content. So here I will write that learning DOM manipulation. So now you will see that, so after this, I write just console.log and I write selected element. So now you will see the text inside the paragraph tag is not this one, like and subscribe. It is this one, which is learning DOM manipulation. So if I just save the file and if I go to the browser and if I just go to console, inspect and console. So you see in the paragraph tag ID PRG, what is the text? The text is learning DOM manipulation. Here you see I am changing the text content, I change it. But here in the paragraph tag, the text is like and subscribe. But after manipulation, I change the content and that is learning DOM manipulation. Now we will see the second one, and the second one is innerHTML. So if I just again create a variable and select HTML and I write document.getElementById and I target the ID, which is PRG. So after it, I write select HTML dot which method I want to use. I want to use innerHTML. So I write here innerHTML. So here I will write the text that what I want to change. So here again I will write that learning DOM a code engineers. After it, I just console.log and I write select HTML. So if I save the file and if I go to the browser, so you see learning DOM at code engineers. So our text will be changed using the method .innerHTML. Similarly, we are using the third one, and the third one is .innerText. So first create a variable selected element. So here I will write document.getElementById. So here I specify the ID, which is PRG. So after it, I write that selected element dot which method I want to use. I want to use this method innerText. So I write here innerText. So which text I want to change? I want to change this text, and inside the text I write here, please subscribe to the channel. So now the text will be changed. So if I just console.log and I write selected element, so now you will see our text will be changed inside the console and inside the browser also. So if I go there and if I go into the browser, so you see, please subscribe to the channel. We get the paragraph tag and the same text will be represented in the browser. So we see all the three methods that how we can change the text, how we can change the content. So what is the difference between these three? So the text content method, which is first one, this method includes text from elements even if they are hidden, and it will also include the text inside the script or style tags if they are in the subtree. For example, if I just write here, if I inside the paragraph tag, if I write here span tag, and here I will write that this is hidden element, and here inside styling I just write display, and display will be none. So now I specify that this span tag will not be displayed inside in the browser. So if I just save the file and if I go to the browser, so you see there is no span tag. So if we go there, the span tag is this is a hidden element, but this element is hidden in the browser. So when we are using the .textContent method, it will select all the selected elements, all the hidden elements also. But when we are using the innerText or the innerHTML, it will not select the hidden text. If I just select this paragraph tag, so if I go there and here I am writing getElementById PRG. So here inside the console.log, if I just write here selected element dot, I'm using the method innerText. So if I save the file and if I go to the file and if I go to the console, so you see there is like and subscribe to the channel. So now I am getting only this text. I am not getting the hidden text. Okay. But when I am using the .textContent method, so if I use here selected element .textContent, so now in this case I will get all the hidden elements including this span tag. So if I just save the file and if I go to the browser, so you see this is a hidden element, like and subscribe. So now you see that if I am using the .textContent method, I am getting all the hidden elements also. But if I am using only innerText or innerHTML, so in this case, I am getting only the visible items. I am getting only the visible content. So now if I go to the browser, I am getting only the visible content. If you are new to this, I recommend that you create a few paragraphs and you create a few elements and tags and manipulate them using different selectors and methods. It's the very best way to really understand that how this works. And that's it for today's video on the basic DOM manipulation. I hope this helped you understand how to select elements and change content dynamically with JavaScript. These are core building blocks for any interactive web page. So keep practicing and experimenting on your own. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment below if you have any questions or want more tutorials like this. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep coding and keep growing.